All right, guys, welcome back to this last segment of this special edition, July 4th episode 9 of this podcast. I encourage you to check out the full podcast episode on iHeartRadio and Podbean, the preferable choice. And I do post a link on that on Facebook if you're interested. And I'm going to be unabashedly asking for you to subscribe to my channel. Getting the app is pretty easy. Make a username account, put in your email. It's easy, okay? And the first segment I talk about just the importance of maintaining a principled posture with how we're approaching what's going on in America right now and the importance of a strong America. So please check that out. So the last segment, we're talking about the conundrum that is the curious case of Joseph Biden. And will he maintain his candidacy for POTUS, President of the United States? And we're going to talk really quickly. We're going to go kind of a few points. This is not going to be long. Stick with me here. And you know what, guys? I think this stuff is super interesting. And I go through that first segment and talk about why we should be plugged in and at least staying apprised and abreast of what is going on right now, because it does impact us intimately in our families. So we shouldn't just have our heads stuck in the sand. Be aware, be cognizant, and choose a news source, somebody to be listening to be plugged in, whether it's Gateway Pundit, whether it's Just the News, the Epoch Times, Tucker Carlson's great. Plug into someone, listen to someone. All right, so we're going to talk about this. So right now, guys, if you're into the betting odds, which, I like polls a lot. I don't put a lot of stock in polls. I do think they're interesting. But if you're looking at the polling, for example, all swing states, President Trump is absolutely obliterating Biden. I mean, he's winning in Virginia, which that has typically been a blue state the last several elections, which is still, well, it's not that crazy because it's an offshoot of DC. He's now, I think the last poll in Minnesota, he's winning Minnesota, which I don't know. I think the last Republican presidential candidate to win Minnesota was Ronald Reagan back in the 80s. Every swing state poll I think he's up in New Mexico. He's obviously up in Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. So I mean, it's clear. And a lot of these polls, guys, are far and away, they teeter towards the left, to put that mildly. So I honestly can look at those polls and probably say, well, they're probably 3 or 4 points favoring the left. That's just I think, pretty credible to say that. So the betting odds right now have Trump, I believe, at like 56%. Kamala Harris is actually at like 16% and Biden at 15%. Guys, that is staggering, especially for a so-called incumbent to have this sort of dismal rating. So just looking at the polls, it seems like this is just, the race is over. But I'm going to pump the brakes on that because we still need to be engaged. We still need to be plugged in, because I do think there is going to be an attempt. I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think there will be an attempt to undermine the election again. But I don't think that's going to happen this time as it happened in 2020. I really don't. So let me just say one thing. Could Biden be replaced? Absolutely. But think about this. It's July right now, okay? Hasn't happened. We're talking about 4 months, the election. So to install someone in 4 months and try to get any sort of momentum, to me, seems very, very difficult. And here's the thing. You can't pass up Kamala Harris. She's the VP. And guys, she's more unpopular than Biden, if that's possible, actually. So you cannot bypass her. So what would have to happen is she'd have to replace Biden as the next candidate, which if you're someone like me, I'm like, well, that's great, because she's worse than him as far as popularity goes, and probably competency. But and I'll get to competency here in a second with Biden. You can't pass her up. So that's one reason why I'm not sure, and I'm leaning more towards Biden sticking in it, okay, to the final November 5th, okay. Also, and here's something I think is just important. I was talking with my dad today about this. Guys, it doesn't matter who the Democrat Party puts at the top of the ticket for the presidency. Joe Biden, as I've said, and I'm going to continue to say this because this is just true, he has zero autonomy. He is not making the shots. He's not the commander-in-chief. He's not competent. Even back in 2020, it wasn't him. It's never been him. He's been a hollow vessel, a Manchurian candidate who is simply fomenting what the people who are pulling the strings want him to foment. And he's, and honestly, like, when he can articulate a sentence, that's what he does. So the only difference, the candidate, whoever they would replace Biden with, would be that person can probably string together some sentences more coherently than Biden. That's the only difference. The platform's not going to change. You're still going to have open borders. You're still going to have an onslaught against people carrying firearms. You're going to continue to see this push with the LGBTQ agenda. That's just what's going to happen. You're going to continue to see unnecessary foreign entanglements. You're going to continue to see political persecutions, weaponizing the justice system. These things are not going to change. Biden he has no platform. There is no platform of Joe Biden. It's a hollow vessel simply channeling the agenda of those who have the actual power. That is it. And we've talked about who has the power. Well, do I need to go through this again? The administrative state, intel agencies, people like George Soros, Bill Gates, the Open Society, these different foundations, non-governmental organizations called NGOs, they have the power, okay? The people, it's not us. Although, let me just rephrase it, that is the perception. We actually do have the power, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second. So again, it doesn't matter. The platform is going to be the exact same. It's going to be radical. It's going to be the Green New Deal, eliminating gas-powered vehicles, promulgating these crazy administrative edicts with the climate, us not driving gas-powered vehicles, all that stuff. It's going to be the same exact thing, guaranteed. They are in unison. That's the thing with the Democrat Party. All of them at the federal level especially are all in unison with the exact same fiats, edicts, and these draconian type policies. Exact same, okay? Also, here's very important. They cannot get out of the pickle, the mess they put themselves in. So Joe Biden, when he ran in 2020, and when they basically concocted the election to get him into office, at that point, because I think he actually said he was only going to run for one term back in 2019 or 2020. Anyway, at this point, the mess they've gotten themselves in with him being at the top of the ticket, you cannot get out right now. And let me just say this, everyone, the reason why people are like, well, I think it was fixed, the debate, especially him going on the debate, because and I understand that, how could you not know? Everyone knew, who was close to him knew the mental state he was in, the cognitive state that he was in. As I said in my last episode, I mean, it was like someone in a nursing home, a geriatric facility. Everyone knew that, okay? But, and here's the thing I want to mention, the power, guys. I think sometimes we underestimate the persuasion, the capital we possess that these people actually want, because we have far greater numbers, far greater influence than we realize. And that's why being, as I mentioned in the first segment, with us just being steadfast, that's all we have to be. We don't have to go out and do anything heroic. Just being steadfast where we're at, whatever state you live in, whatever municipality you live in, wherever it's at, all we have to do is just say no to the radical agenda they're promulgating and just say yes to the convictions and principles and virtue. That's it. That can reverberate all across the country. That is it. And it's that simple. So my final guess is that he is the Democrat Party stuck with old Joe. And my belief is, guys, that President Trump is going to absolutely dismantle him for the presidency in 2024. And I think we're going to see unprecedented success. That's my prediction. Do I know that 100%? No. But I do feel and believe passionately we're going to see unprecedented success. We're going to see actual treaties with other nations that don't violate our sovereignty but bring actual peace and stability. We're going to see economic success, I believe. We're going to see a deconstruction of the administrative state. We're going to open up the energy sector. Gas prices are going to go down. People are going to be able to get jobs. Higher wages are going to go up. Unemployment's going to go down. The stock market's going to rise. I think all of these things, we're going to see a dramatic, and I'm not saying it's going to be a renaissance, but I'm not saying it's not. I just think we are entering into something special. And that goes against the belief that we are in perilous times. And I'm not saying that the optics don't present that. What I'm seeing something different though, and that is I guess you know, I'm kind of putting myself on the record here. So 5 years from now, you can come back and tell me how wrong I was, or if I was accurate. But I believe I'm accurate. I believe that is what we're in store for. So, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be engaged, because I think God has chosen to use us to move the needle. That's just the way He set it up. He set it up to use us. And to, you know, and I'll end with this. It says in the Bible, I believe Jesus says this, that when the Son of Man comes back, will He find faith? Just believe. Don't allow the enemy, don't allow yourself to be demoralized or paralyzed with what the optics appear like right now. Okay? Good things are happening. God is on the move. Truth is winning out. And we saw that in the Supreme Court, where they ruled that President Trump has immunity within his official acts as the president. And I think that's going to impact, I firmly believe that's going to have an inextricable impact on these different court cases in Georgia, New York, and in Florida, and I think DC as well. Anyway, guys, I'm done. Those are my predictions. Those are my thoughts. And I'll catch you guys soon. Have a great rest of your 4th weekend. And hopefully I'll be getting a new interview to you guys soon. All right. See ya.